Hello, Namaste, bonjour book lovers. A year ago, I went to my grandparents' place where my mom happened to visit a bookstore. So she brought me a book titled Mile Will Not Be Quiet. Throughout my read, I found myself placed in the book as the main character Mile and her talkativeness. I couldn't hold back myself that I wrote a letter to the author stating the same and what else I liked in the book. Friends, I was amazed to see that I got an immediate reply from the author the very next day. I was overwhelmed at this gesture of hers, which made me her fan all the more. And now I'm happy to present you Miss Samya Rajendran, one of my first loved authors and who is also the author of the best-selling series of books for children in the recent times, the Mile series. So here's presenting you Miss Samya Rajendran ma'am. Hi ma'am, welcome to our channel Book Talkies.
Hi Harshika, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure too, ma'am, to have you here on the show, whose book I've reviewed earlier and because of whom all this channel had started.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here and speaking to you and putting a face to the lovely letter that you wrote me long ago.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. It was so good talking to you at that time and the way you replied back. So I just loved you at the very first moment.
Sure. It's my pleasure.
Ma'am, so you have written a lot of books and almost all children's literature. So can we have, can we know about your childhood as well?
Yeah, of course. I had many of my books are actually quite autobiographical, especially the Mile series. So I was also a girl who would, who was very talkative and who would never be quiet. And in fact, the very first diary entry in Mile's book, where she says that her mother used to pay her to keep quiet, that's something that's happened in my real life. My mother used to pay me to keep my mouth shut because I always had a lot of questions. So that's what my childhood was like. I grew up in a house. I have an older brother. Yeah. And my parents were very, encouraging of debate and discussing things at home. So yeah, I had quite a happy childhood, I must say.
So that's what prompted you to, improve yourself, that discussions and the way your parents encouraged you. So they are the backbone of your success.
I think all our parents give us a lot of inputs in our life. So in the same way, I would say that my parents, they always encouraged me to question them. They did not expect me to obey them all the time. So they would allow me to disagree with them, which I think is a very important right for a child to have.
Yes.
That they should develop their own sense of, what is happening in the world, and they should have their own opinions. So I was lucky to grow up in a house where I was allowed to have my own opinions.
Yeah, that's great, ma'am. And what is the main idea? Like you have said, one of the ideas behind these books, like children's literature, is because of your parents and your childhood, which inspired you, right? So that's some part. And what is the major thing that inspired you or prompted you to quell in such a wonderful and inspiring stories?
So I've always wanted to be a writer. I didn't have any other ambition when I was studying in school or anything. I was very clear from the beginning that this is what I wanted to do. I would say, and children's literature has always, attracted me because I just enjoy the world of children a lot, because I find that children are very, frank readers. They're very open to expressing what they feel about a book. And I also like to write funny books. And I feel that children appreciate humor more than any other kind of reader.
Yes.
So And often my books are based on ideas that I wish I had read when I was a child. I wish somebody had told me about, certain things while growing up, which I discovered much later. So that is another reason that I wanted to write for children.
Wow, that's really awesome, ma'am. Ma'am, what do you think is the current perspective on children's literature? Like, what is the world looking at? Through which perspective is the world looking at children's literature? And how can we make it more interesting? How can we weave stories so intriguing?
So I think initially children's literature was very lecturish. I would say that when I was growing up, for instance, we had a lot of moral stories, and where at the end of the story, the author would tell you what to think. They would just say, "This is the moral of the story, and this is what you have to take away from it." I think we've come a long way from there, and now children's books are for children to understand by themselves. So each reader takes their own meaning from the book. So it's a lot more open now, and it's a lot more evolved. But I think as far as Indian children's books are concerned, I think we can have more fun books also. I think now children's writers are writing about a lot of issues, very relevant issues for children in the contemporary age. But I think we can also have a lot more fun. So I think that would be really great.
Yeah, ma'am, absolutely true. That is what I too feel. I too stand with you on the same line, actually. Ma'am, as a child, who is your role model? Who inspired you? And, we tell, right, like the person whom we look up to.
Okay, so I would say that I became inspired to become a writer because of Enid Blyton. I used to read all of her books, and I was a huge fan of her writing. And that kind of made me want to write children's books when I grew up as well. Of course, after that I read a lot more other authors, and R.K. Narayan is someone I admire a lot. His Malgudi Days is a book which I still enjoy, and I can read it at any time, and the magic is still there.
Yes, though we read it so many times, I won't feel so bored of it. Like, we enjoy it each and every time we go through it.
Yes, exactly. So even though the schoolboy, the book is set in the last century, and it's about a schoolboy who was growing up in a small town, but anybody in any part of the world can still relate to so many things in the book.
Yes, ma'am, yes. I too relate a lot to that book.
Yeah.
Ma'am, that you were telling, right? Childhood was what actually inspired you to write these kind of books, and what you felt in the childhood, like what you felt like reading in your childhood was the inspiration behind writing this right now. So, do you think that author in you mirrors your personality?
Yes. I would agree with that. I think there are different kinds of writers. Not everybody models their characters on themselves, but most writers, they observe the world. So a lot of characters that you see in people's books are actually based on characters they've met in real life, or a mix of that. So they take an inspiration from a certain person in real life, and then they add other characteristics and traits to that person and build upon it. So my books, like I said, the Mile series is quite autobiographical. There are other books I've done which a reader may not be able to understand is based on something that happened to me, but I know that. Like, for example, Anna and Chena is a picture book that I wrote.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's about an elephant who does not like what he looks like. So so that was also inspired by the kind of conversations I've had with my friends when we were growing up, when our faces and our bodies were changing, and we didn't particularly like what we look like at that age. So these are things that we've discussed, and then that comes out in the form of a picture book. So you may not be able to identify who that character is because we would have changed it, but there's a lot of inspiration from real life in my books.
Yes, I found it, ma'am. Like, now as I'm talking to you, I really felt that you're completely relating to your real life and the books, because I felt that you feel the things around you inspire you in your literature. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. So, while writing for children, I think it's also important to be in touch with children of today. So, I'm no longer a child, obviously. So, I need to watch the world around me, observe children around me, what interests them, what are their preoccupations. So, I do that a lot. So, if you want to be a writer, whenever people ask me, how do you become a writer, I always tell them that the first thing you need to be is a good observer. You need
Yeah.
to be interested in watching people and studying them, and that's how you can create stories and characters that everybody can relate to.
Yeah, ma'am. That's a quite, interesting answer that you have told. And you're telling that the current generation is far different from the previous generation, right, ma'am? So, can you tell us a few words to present generation on improving their emotional quotient and creativity?
I think that every generation should figure out these things for themselves. So I'm a kind of an adult who doesn't like telling children what they should think and what they should do, because I think adults don't have all the answers. We just pretend that we do. So and I think that children should question these things for themselves. And I have an 8-year-old daughter, and this is the
Oh.
same thing that I tell her. So I would like her to be an independent thinker and not just follow what I say.
That's
So
great.
yeah, in our country, I think we place a lot of importance on obedience as a virtue, and we expect children to just listen to what adults say without any questions asked. And I am not a very big cheerleader of that, because I think if children are just going to obey adults without asking any questions, then the world will not change at all. So I think children should figure out for themselves what they think about the world, and they should take advice from adults, yes, but not blindly. I think they should, as I say, think for themselves.
That's great, ma'am. The way you're thinking, like it is so good that nowadays people don't think in the same way as you did.
Hmm.
And you're empowering. Ma'am, you told that you mentioned that you have a small daughter. What is her name, ma'am?
Her name is Adira, and she's 8 years old. She's in class 3.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
So, ma'am,
Yeah.
are there any parameters to write children's books?
Well, I would say that you have to be, as a writer, you have to be very careful when you write a book for children.
Hmm?
You have to ensure that you're being sensitive to whatever it is that you're writing about. And I would say that you should not talk down to your audience, as in don't assume that your audience does not know things. You should respect their intelligence, and you should let children figure out for themselves what the story should mean to them. And at the same time, I feel that you should be aware of the kind of issues that children face today, so that they can relate to the story better. So I think you should, like any other audience, when you're writing for, you have to make sure that your story is authentic, it has an honest voice, and it reaches your audience. And and be more sensitive when you write for children, because they can get conditioned very easily. They read something and it leaves a very big impression on them. So I would say that writers will have that additional responsibility when they're writing for children.
Okay. Ma'am, you're a journalist, and how do you manage this both journalism and books? We know, right? Journalism is a really hectic job where we have to be, writing, going through articles, have to be updated about each and every minute and what is happening in the world. So, how do you manage to write books along with journalism?
So yeah, it is difficult, and I work 6 days a week, so it is quite hectic. But then writing is something that's very important to me. So I've always found that when something is very important to them, they always find ways to do it. So whether it is photography or gardening or anything at all, so writing makes me happy. I don't see it as a job that I do. So I always make sure that I find time for it. So this year, last year I worked on a book on mythology. So when the offer came to me from a publisher, I did wonder whether I should take it up, because it's very hectic right now. But then I didn't want to let it go, and I said yes. So every day before office starts, I would put in a few hours of writing. It is tiring, but like I said, since it makes me happy, I don't really mind.
Yeah. That's a fantabulous way you're doing that. We have to learn a lot from you, ma'am. Managing time is such a difficult task, and you're doing with such an ease.
Yeah, thank you.
Ma'am, I've seen that like this Mile series and a lot of books. I've seen that you are co-authored by some other author. So, do you think that co-authors play a major role in our life too?
So I have, the Mile series I co-authored with my best friend Nivedita Subramaniam.
Yes.
I met her in college, and we both wanted to create a book on gender. That is, a book where young children can learn about gender. So that's how the Mile series was conceptualized initially. It was a resource book. And later, when we sent it to our publisher, they suggested that we rewrite it in the form of a diary because it would be more accessible. So that's how we rewrote the entire book. So I would write one diary entry and send it to Nivedita, and she would write back. So that's how that book went. And since we both are of the same wavelength, it was not a very difficult thing for us to do. To maintain the tone, make sure it's consistent, and so on. But so a co-author is always a blessing. If you can find somebody who gets along with you, with whom you can work, professionally, because sometimes if you enjoy a very personal relationship with somebody, it's very difficult to work with them because you can't disagree very freely, because they may take offense, and you don't want to ruin the friendship, so you're not honest. But so you need to find somebody like that who is willing to work in a professional setup, even though you enjoy a close personal friendship. So that's how it is between Nivedita and me. These three books we co-wrote, and she's also an illustrator. So she's illustrated some other books of mine. I've written those books, but she's the illustrator. Yeah.
I've gone through them. Ma'am, I was pleasantly astonished. Like, you're writing a diary and from a perspective of a young girl, Mile. So, I was astonished as to how both of your wavelengths matched, like the tone, the way you think of Mile, and the way you wrote about each and everyday experiences. And now I think I got my answer.
Okay, great.
So, ma'am, is there any perfect age to pen down a book?
No, I don't think so. I think you become a writer. You don't become a writer overnight. It's not like one fine day you are ready to write a book. Writing is something you have to keep doing. It's like brushing and bathing. It's an everyday routine, and you have to incorporate writing like that in your life if you are to someday write a book, because it's all about practice. If you want to be a singer or a dancer or play the violin, that people who perform on stage haven't just gone there one day, right? They've spent hours practicing. They've made mistakes, they have reworked and practiced to get that amount of perfection. So it's the same with writing. It's a skill, it's an art form, so you have to put in that much effort on a daily basis, and and someday the words will become much faster. The flow, it will come to you naturally, and you don't have to think twice and break your head too much to start writing and articulating what you feel on paper.
Yes, ma'am. Like the creative juice flows through our pen.
Yeah, so it happens automatically at some stage when you have worked at it for so long behind the scenes. So I've been writing from my childhood, ever since I became old enough to kind of start writing my own poetry, my own stories, my own plays. So it didn't happen just like that out of the blue. It's something that I've worked on for a very long time.
Yeah, okay. Ma'am, like nowadays, as it is the lockdown period, is there any effect on the child's reading, or if on the is there any effect of this corona pandemic on the reading habit of children?
Well, there are two ways to look at it. I would say that children who are already readers, who have been exposed to books and love books, have actually started reading more in this period because there's nothing much to do. You can't go out and play, and you can't have your friends over. So I know a lot of kids who are very interested in books. They have been reading a lot more in this lockdown period. But children who have not been initiated into books, then I think they become too dependent on devices and gadgets. I'm not entirely against them, but I think parents also need to control screen time to a certain extent because it becomes very distracting. Your attention span reduces considerably, and you're not able to concentrate on a book. So I think much of the fault, I would say, lies with adults because we are hooked to devices all the time, and children are watching us and they imitate what we are doing. So so I think it really depends on the child. If your child is a reader already, then I would say that they've read more. If they're not, then it's unlikely that they would have become readers overnight.
Okay. Ma'am, then now that I've mentioned about the screens and the devices, see, in this lockdown, most of us might not have a lot of books. So for the starters, they start reading 2 or 3 books that are available at their home. Few people might not have the availability of a lot of books. They have to stick to these ebooks. So what is your take on this, ma'am? Do you prefer ebooks or the paperbacks?
I think ebooks are fine because if you're reading them on a Kindle, a Kindle without the light on, so that is that's like just like reading a book because the light doesn't fall into your eyes. So it's just like we have the Kindle, the first version, where it is it's just like an ordinary book. You just have to turn the page with your finger, but otherwise it's just like a book. So I think that is perfectly fine, and in fact I found that very useful during the lockdown because we could just download books on that directly instead of because everything was closed, and Amazon also for a long time they were not delivering books.
So what books do you recommend to these starters?
So it really depends on your interest. So I think that every child becomes a reader when they meet the right book, and that right book is something they have to decide for themselves. I find that often parents, they're not very encouraging of their child reading a comic, for instance. They think it's a waste of money because there's too little text and too many visuals. But comics are a great art form. And if your child likes comics, then you please buy them comics. Let them read comics. If your child likes picture books, you buy them picture books. It's fine. So it's not, I think in India especially, parents are very insistent that children should read these big fat books with a lot of text. And they're willing to pay money and buy a book only if it has a lot of text. So I don't understand that at all. I think if you're reading for pleasure, you should be free to read whatever you want. So I don't have any recommendations for what children should read. I think parents should expose children to all kinds of books, and then the child decides what they're interested in. Is it anime and comics? Is it picture books? Is it graphic novels? Is it full-length novels? So what genre they like? Is it fantasy, adventure, realistic fiction? So once they get the taste of the kind of literature that appeals to them, then the child wants to read more. It's not an homework or an imposition for the adults then.
Yes, ma'am, I agree with you totally. Because I too started reading with some random book and ended up reading a lot of books at my home.
Yeah. So you never know when that will happen.
Yes. So, ma'am, a small message to all the young budding authors and avid readers or budding readers.
Well, if you want to be a writer, first be a reader, because there are a lot of people today who want to write books, but they don't want to read books. So you may think that it's not necessary and the two things are completely different, but they're not. Because the more you read, the more the language flows in your mind, and the more you're able to break down the barriers to putting your pen to paper. So you should be a reader if you want to be a writer, without a doubt. And like I said earlier, you should be an observer of the world around you. And I always say that one great advantage of being a writer is that nothing that happens to you is a waste. Even the bad things that happen to you are not a waste, because you can always put them in a book, because you know how that feels, you know what that experience is like. and you know what to make your character feel at that point. So that's what you have to be. If you're a writer, you have to be greedy for experiences, and you have to put them down to paper. And for readers, I would say read all kinds of books, see what appeals to you. Don't force yourself to read something just because the whole world is reading it. If it doesn't work for you, you don't have to read it. Just find out what you like and do what you want.
Yes, ma'am. Of course, I completely relate with what all you have said, or what all you have imparted to us today. It was really a fruitful session and I really loved it. Your advices were wonderful and I hope they help a lot of us in improving ourselves and developing our inner authors and writers.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed chatting with you very much, and I do hope that the children who are watching this feel inspired to be their own people. And yeah, that's my advice. Don't listen to adults too much.
So, ma'am, any other plan of penning any other book, or is there any book coming up?
Yeah, so my book on myths and legends from around the world will be out at some point this year, whenever the restrictions completely lift and we can actually print the book. It's published by Rupa Publications, and it's 22 stories from different cultures. Many of these stories you may have read already, but these are different versions. They are new versions told from a new perspective.
Like
So,
the
yeah, that's what
twisted
is it.
tales.
Yes, there's a twist in the tale. The characters are new. It's the same story, but yeah, it's from a different point of view.
Like this Cinderella story in the different perspective.
Yeah, so I have done Girls to the Rescue. It's a retelling of fairy tales. So this is not quite the same as that, because the fairy tale retellings that I did were completely new stories. These are still the same stories, but they are told from a different perspective. So you will find out when you read the book.
Wow, that's so imaginative. Like it also helps all the readers who read that book view it from a different perspective, which haven't, got introduced to until now.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for being here. I really loved it. Being here, like talking to you. It was a knowledgeable session, and I hope we have many such conversations ahead.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much, and all the very best to you and
Thank
all the
you.
children who are watching. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
So that was Miss Soumya Rajendran, ma'am, for all of us. It was an amazing session, right? So share your thoughts in the comment section below. Keep reading, keep watching, and subscribe to Book Talkies. Thank you. Signing off, Sri Arshika ji. Happy Book Era.